Alright, lovely stuff. 15-minute time frame. Let's see what price has for us today. Alright, Friday's low. Okay, that's interesting. It's going to be London lows. So that's the first level to mark out. Okay, also I'm going to want to delete these previous areas here. Just get rid of all of those. How's everyone doing this morning? We're getting quite a few more people inside of the live stream now. I think majority of people know that when we look to monitor price and take a trade, it's at 9:40. So I'd say half the live stream join, I'd say, after the market open, because they don't join really at 9:20. So that would be minor buy side. We've got a set of London lows, and then we have other sets of, say, minor sell side as well. Okay. If we look at Friday going into Thursday's high potentially going into Wednesday. So that's going to be previous day high. Okay. So whatever we mark out on NQ, make sure you paste this over and mark this out on ES as well. Okay, so between Asia, you can see that at 9 PM on the Thursday, we created Asia highs. So we can mark this out as Asia highs. You can see Asia highs there on ES has already been taken, so we got a bearish SMT on NQ as of now. So that's why we mark it out on both, just so you get that visual representation on what's currently happening for price. Minor buy side. We've also improved the... Someone said, can't hear anything. Is it me or Milo is not talking? Guys, if you ever had for that issue, because I think majority of you guys right now can hear me. If you ever have that issue, just make sure you leave and then rejoin. Someone needs to tell them to leave and then rejoin. Matter of fact, let me just text him. I've got his number. I taught Dom one-on-one. It's my brother right there. Buddy's done over 200k in payouts. $3.5 million in capital right now he's sitting at. Very good work. Alright, so bearish SMT, which you can see that. Asia highs. So I don't really mark SMTs until the trade's actually in place, because likely that price is going to continue high and just destroy the SMT, and I got to keep remarking it. Right, it's just a waste of energy, but I'll do it for the sake of the stream. And then we have London lows. Right. Thursday, previous day high. Minor buy side. Okay. Right, so essentially we've marked out all of the levels that we really want to mark out. Only other level I actually want to mark out is this one. Just this minor sell side here. As we have this not unfilled, but we do have a large majority of the fair value gap on the 15-minute is unfilled, and it also seeks discount. So either price is going to continue higher towards and take out the high, potentially following a bearish bias from that point, or it's going to draw lower, seek some sort of discount, and then try to reprice higher from there. So let's mark it out anyway, just so we have both scenarios in place. Right, so that's basically it. That's the New York Open. So volatility's obviously starting to step up a little bit. Enjoying this watermelon shake right now. Little watermelon shake. Guys, I'm getting back in business as well. You know, been having the garlic tablets. You know, I spoke to you guys the other day and I was a little bit ill, but now we're getting back in business. Not ill anymore, recovered. There's quite a few people who can't hear. It's quite weird, isn't it? So we got AVG Nish, can't hear, right? Jack, can't hear. It's a weird one. And then, you know, we got Lara, we got Ken, you know. Most people can hear. Let me mute my mic and unmute it. Alright, well, I mean, majority of you guys can hear, and as long as you can see the screen, then I guess it's all that you need. But if you ever see that issue, just make sure you leave and rejoin, because majority of people, they hear, you know, just fine. I actually think it's a settings not on my end, it's on... Alright, we're back in business. I don't know what happened there. Asked me to listen to my own stream. Like, what's the point in that? Okay, so we're back. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Just do a little audio check. And as of now, I've already marked out the key levels, so everything is done. And then we're going to get on to bias shortly. All good, yeah? Lovely stuff. Let me turn down my laptop a little bit. And then post this screenshot of the levels inside of the AM prep channel. So you guys got those more specific levels. Alright, there you have it. I just uploaded the screenshot of current chart inside of the AM prep so you can kind of zoom in and see the levels a little bit easier. So you've got the same levels marked out on your chart. Alright, let's take a look at bias. So, daily time frame as of now. Price came down, took out daily low. So if we was bearish, we neutralized and we flipped bullish on the daily. Okay, so the daily, in fact, is bullish to the next bearish gap. It's interesting. That's obviously from that downturn move this morning when Bitcoin almost hit 102k this morning. Got relatively low. So, as you can see here, the 4-hour time frame is bearish. So we assume that this bearish 4-hour gap is respected and the draw's lower towards the next 4-hour low or bullish gap. So we have bullish and bearish as of now. So daily is bullish, 4-hour is bearish, 1 hour. Let's take a look at the 1. Alright, so previously we was trading inside of an hourly bearish fair gap. It got inverse, so we're bullish towards the next bearish gap or high. And you can see here we have an SMT at the high. So you could take this as neutral with the SMT at the high after inversing the gap ES drawn and took out the draw. So that's the only time that I would neutralize a bias from looking at ES. If ES meets the draw with an SMT, then it turns the bias to be neutral. on that time frame. So now we can look at the 15-minute. Okay, so 15-minute time frame as of now is bearish. So we was trading out of a bullish 15-minute, draws higher towards the next bearish gap or high, and we're currently trading out of the bearish Fair Value gap, which you can see there. Milo, the bias on the out fucking hell, I almost died. One sec. Alright, we're back. Milo, the bias on the hourly is neutral. Aren't we determined bias only off NQ Fair Value gaps? That's absolutely correct. So bias is determined purely off NQ's Fair Value gaps. And then when it comes to the bias meeting a draw, the draw is the next high or Fair Value gap. So for example, if ES has already taken the high or the low, then the draw has already been met, so it neutralizes the bias. If that makes sense. That's how we determine bias, going not from bullish or bearish. So we're not going to go from neutral to bullish or bearish if ES is in a gap. We only neutralize a bias from an SMT. So on the hourly, if we're bullish to the next high but ES takes the high and there's a bearish SMT on the hourly on NQ, then that does give us a neutral bias there. So yeah, 15-minute is bearish and bias currently stands as bearish of what we can see now, dependent on the 5-minute, which could turn it neutral. So 5 minutes took the high, so it's already neutral, and we're trading out of the bearish gap, so we're bearish. So we have a bearish bias and a sweep of buy side. Simple. Easy work, guys, easy work. So now we look on the 1-minute time frame, and we can wait for this macro on Friday to finish off the government shutdown week. And also Jerome Powell spoke at the start of this week in the third macro. It's been a bit all over the place, but we close out on top. Our Bitcoin position is up. Our current week as of now is also up. I'm going to delete this SMT because I know I'm going to have to keep remarking it. So the only thing we look for now, time 45, 10:15. Inside of this window here, first day of macro, with a bearish SMT on NQ. I'll delete minor buy side. Wait, is that minor buy side or is it meant to be sell? It's meant to be sell side. It's one of my autistic traits sometimes, is that I'd mark a point of sell side and mark it as buy side, you know. I like to confuse myself. Sometimes it gets a bit too easy, you know. So I like to trick myself sometimes. Alright, so obviously ES has taken out this point of minor buy side, so has NQ. And NQ has not taken Asia, but ES has taken Asia. So we don't have a bearish SMT here, but we have a bearish SMT here. So that's what we're seeing as of now. A bullish order block got inversed, and if this creates a gap and a displacement, that is the model. And exactly what we're looking for. There would also be a gap on both NQ and ES. So approaching the macro, we'd then look to see an entry at 9:45 as a short. It's that easy, guys. It's so easy, honestly. So now I can see the model forming. I'm going to then put in the effort of marking out this line of a bearish SMT, just so it looks a little bit cleaner, just so we know we have that there, so no one forgets. Alright, so what we can see so far, a sweep of buy side, a bearish bias, a shift in market structure on NQ, and also a shift in market structure on ES. Okay. The New York Open is the draw, right? So if that gets taken, this trade's invalidated, which could very easily happen. Like, it either does or it doesn't, you know. It's out of our control. We're here to do our job. And the New York Open low is essentially this low on ES, so I'll just leave it there. That's the two same draws. And if we don't take the New York Open low and we get to the macro and this model's still here without taking that New York Open low, I will be partaking and taking shorts off this Fair Value gap We have a bearish breaker paired with the fair value gap on both NQ and ES, shift the market structure on both, bearish buy, sweeper buy side. Lovely stuff. So the only thing we don't have, we're not inside of macro right now, so we got to wait another 3.5 minutes, and NQ's just going to likely take out this low. And I'd say it's a 70% chance that we get a no trade here, but if we get the trade, we'll be there to take it. Why is the New York Open the draw? Well, it's not essentially the overall draw on the trade, but it is the first draw. And if the New York Open gets taken, I take it as a point of sell side. Now, when we're taking shorts, we do not want to see a sweep of sell side against the trade. We want to see a sweep of buy side supporting shorts, a sweep of sell side supporting longs. So a sweep of the New York Open is going against the trade. So, you know, that's why I said 70% chance price will just draw and take it out. And it's not a problem, guys. You know, there's no reason on why we should be forcing anything or forcing any trades. We got another 3 macros to go. You know, this macro is not even started. People are already itching. No, so the New York Open low, it's not a point that we actually look for TP, but it's a point of sell side that I actually closely monitor. And if it gets taken, I do not take the trade because it's a sweep of sell side for shorts. So if you look at the checklist, obviously it's not inside of this Discord as of now, but I'm going to add it, is that we must have a sweep of liquidity to pair with the bias. Now, if we don't have that, you know, we don't have a model. Hopefully that kind of clears things up a little bit. Where is the stop loss? Well, we still got another 2 minutes, which in my head feels like about an hour. But the stop loss, in this case, is slightly difficult. See, on this day, because we have increased volatility, the scenario that we could take, we are getting a 2-to-1 of that low, but stop placement there is not valid. So I want to run a stop placement of 60 points in this case. So it would be a half position size trade, and then seeking a 2-to-1. The first 1 minute low is over a 3-to-1, so we'd have to seek just a basic 2-to-1. If, for example, we don't take that New York Open low, in the next minute price then comes up and gives an entry. So we'll see. There you go, it's just been taken. So the trade is over, and it's over with. There is no reason to consider shorts anymore. Obviously, we still have a bearish bias, and price is likely going to draw lower into a discount. But now we have a sweep of liquidity against the trade. So price coming back to this value gap is not of my interest to take it at all. Because more times than not, probability lies against you. So why would you want to take something that you don't have an actual opportunity at all? I suggest just ordering a watermelon shake and enjoying it and waiting for another trade to present itself. Obviously, you could look at it in the eyes of that. This is a second displacement. We have inversed the bullish order block, and that's now a breaker, and it's paired with the gap. It's a breakaway gap paired with a bearish breaker. But this is all against the trade, right? It's all against the model of having a sweep of the New York Open, a sweep of sell side against the trade. And time again, trades like this fail and fail and fail of taking liquidity against the trade. Why is the 1 hour neutral although we're trading into a 1 hour bullish buy side imbalance? Because ES had already taken the high, so trading out of the bullish imbalance, ES already took the hourly high, so it neutralized the hourly bias there. How's my audio? Is it pretty crisp? I mean, the amount of times we boosted the server is pretty good, right? Milo, in the last stream, you mentioned that if sell side or buy side is taken on SPX, we don't trade. What's with that concept? Can you go through it? Yeah, so essentially, right, if I'm taking a short, let's say I want to take a short. I'm not taking shorts, by the way, guys. And this could run 1,000 points low. I couldn't give a rat. So, let me explain. We have, say, an opportunity for shorts. And then if I'm targeting a point of sell side, right? Like this low. I'm going to look on ES for that same low, which is here. If ES takes this low whilst I'm in the short and NQ has not met the draw, so if NQ has not actually taken that low yet of my TP, but ES takes it, then I close out of my... I thought someone said the audio was lagging, but they said it was banging. You know, that's good to hear. Yeah, so if I'm in a short right now, then it means that if I'm targeting this low and then ES trades lower, takes out this low, but NQ hasn't already taken it, then I close out of my trade. SMT against the trade, I close out. And essentially, we don't take the trade if the objective's already been met. For example, if I take a short now, right, and we will say targeting this low, if ES had already taken that low, I can't target this low. So the TP, the objective's already been met for the trade. Does that answer the question? Does that make a little bit more sense? Hopefully it does. Hopefully it does. But yeah, do you know how many ICT traders watching the 2022 model would take this short right now? But from experience and from the model that I've narrowed down to an absolute T, I know to obviously follow the set of rules that I've laid out in front of myself, and I've seen thousands of trades, you know, and I'm just here to transfer my knowledge to you guys and just give you that second-hand education there. So, you know, hopefully it benefits you guys. Just because the bias is bearish doesn't mean you full port shorts, guys. You still need you still need the checklist, you still need the model in place. Milo, you're a great teacher. I speak to everyone when they say happy to be back. Absolutely. I mean, you know, I actually quite like speaking to you guys, and I missed it. And I thought, you know, why not start this group back up and give you guys some extra knowledge that I've added to the model, and, you know, things I've changed over the last 6 months to a year. Because I know some of you guys, you've been watching me trade since April of 2024 when I first started trading live, right? So, you know, the way I trade back in April 2024 is slightly different to the way that I trade now. It's a lot more regimented, based off a checklist, and also bias is different, and the fact we take a 2-to-1 instead of partials. So we're extremely more profitable now. Not to say that we wasn't making money then, we was. Now we make disgusting amounts. That's the difference. Our breaker block in the candle where you marked out the market structure shift correct? Would you still enter off the first fair value gap, not the uni fair value gap? I don't understand your question. Are you asking if I would take a trade as a short now? Or, because, oh, okay, misunderstanding. Let me try understand this. Oh, okay, so we're thinking like hypothetical. If this trade was valid, would I take this short? Okay, all right, well, good question, let's see. I don't want people to, when I put this on the chart now, do not think that I'm taking a trade, right? I just want to answer this guy, answer my brother's question right here. So the simple answer to your question is no. I wouldn't take that because the stop placement is absolutely insane. I would have to seek an entry on this upper gap and then seek a 60 handle stop at that point and then target a 2-to-1 of that. That would be the trade. So if this trade was valid, it would be an entry off the upper gap, a stop placement at 57 points and targeting 113 with half position size. So whatever you take with 25 points as a position size in the risk management section, you just take that position size and half it and then take that trade. Hopefully that answers your question. why not the fair value gap? Does that answer your question, or was that a late message? Why not the fair value gap above the one you placed an entry at? 938. This one. I mean, you could, but the likelihood of that, if the trade was valid, I would take this, because the stop placement of this point is no different to taking a stop placement here. We're still overriding 30 points, so I'd rather make sure that I catch an entry if the trade was valid, rather than waiting for an upper gap. So I'll take this, run 57 points, rather than taking this and running 42 points. So it's relatively the same distance of TP, so I'd much rather ensure I get an entry than wait for an upper entry. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, this entry down here, for example, if this trade was valid, then this entry down here wouldn't even be of a consideration, because you need to ensure that your stop is actually above anything that sends trade in favor, and it simply wouldn't be above these gaps and in a valid position, if that makes sense. And you know, obviously my experience is talking as of now, because it's not unfortunate, it's just other ICT traders with lack of knowledge, but a short here obviously would have been stopped out. So that's why we took no trades. This is why I'm here, to guide you guys through the correct process, to not get trapped into things that you shouldn't be taking. You know, they sell this thing in Thailand. I buy it in 7-Eleven. It's like a sniff pot. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. It smells real good. It's like mint. You know, so if I get a bit bored in price action likes to accumulate like this. Same as yesterday. So price is reaching for Asia on NQ right now. It's reaching for liquidity, right? So it's accumulated, it manipulated, it's now distributing for Asia highs. Very, very obvious. So manipulated below the New York Open low. That's why it's not displacement, guys. This is manipulation. This is distribution. And it's distributing towards the Asia highs to then form a nice strong bearish bias. Either the second half of this macro will give us a nice opportunity for shorts, or it will be the second day of macro. Are these three macros created by you? Yes, they are. They absolutely are, yeah. And the system, which runs from T+2 to T+1, right, of the way that you can see we've now priced into Asia highs, and that's just now distributed to Asia. So it's a very clear power of three. Boom, boom, boom. So the macro timings changed last year around July time, and it's a 30-minute window instead of a 20-minute window. So 5 minutes added both ways, from 9:45 to 10:15. So anyone in the ICT space who trades the macro from 9:45, I am the only one who started that, and anyone else who you see trading that macro has learned it from me, and the same with bias as well. But essentially, instead of taking 2 days to process orders in the clearinghouse with institutions and big funds, it now takes 1 day. So the macro times changed slightly. Also, if you backtest it as well as far as profitability, then the actual 9:45 from where the majority and the bulk of the trades, from 9:45, 10:45 and 11:45, the bulk of the trades tend to give an entry around that time. And when the 9:50 part occurs, 9:50 doesn't actually give as many entries because it's such a small window, and the majority and the bulk of the trades happen prior. So that's also a reason why I extended it by 5 minutes. That was over a year and a half ago, and since then I've made over $1 million in payouts. So it's been a while since the macro times changed. But good question, yeah, good question. I've backtested 9:45, 10:15 macro. It's completely down to yourself, whatever macro that you choose to trade. I mean, you don't have to trade the exact same as myself. If you want to see similar results, I suggest you do. But what I would say is that January 2024, even for myself, was not really a month that I excelled in. It was basically a break-even month. Potentially, I think I closed January negative 1.5 R on the month, or negative 1 R. It was a very slow January. February started to pick up. March was definitely a bigger month, and April was absolutely huge. April was huge, but not as big as August. August was even bigger. Four-hour liquidity zone, 4-hour city. Absolutely, yeah. Price is trading into that 4-hour bearish gap. Plain sight obvious. Let's take a look. See Bitcoin's trading at 106 on the dot at the moment, down 2%. It's interesting with gold at the moment, isn't it? Gold is trading at all-time highs and continues week by week, month by month to trade higher. It's very interesting whether the US government's going to side with Bitcoin and crypto, or it's going to side completely entirely with gold. But the best move for the US, right, to completely clear their debt would be to move their whole gold reserve, which they have a massive gold reserve, into Bitcoin, which would plummet the gold reserve and the gold price massively, like massively. If they moved their whole gold reserve into Bitcoin, it would plummet gold and become the main asset of the world, which it already is, Bitcoin. But also, US would become world leaders because they would crash every other reserve with every other country. The UK, for example, hold a massive, massive reserve of gold in the Bank of England underground. And so do every other country as well. So if they did that, other countries would follow, and this would absolutely collapse. So it's very, very interesting on what's going to happen there. That's something to pay attention to, but it's also one thing that's completely out of your control. Alright, so as of now, the bias, I mean, we can re-look at the bias, but the daily is still going to be bullish, and the 4-hour is bearish, and the hourly is neutral. So same results there on the top three. 15 minute. 15 minutes still open. Going to take it as bearish, assuming that this gets respected, and if we get a close obviously in 40 seconds, then it would be neutral after taking the high. So it would inverse the bearish gap, took the high, neutral. There's no other bearish gaps that I see. Actually, we have this one. Yeah, no, either way the 15's bearish. It's already sided bearish there. Guys, if absolutely, brother, yeah. Very transparent, you know, if we take a loss, we take a loss. We have winning weeks, and I'll tell you now, majority of the cases is that you are going to experience 8, 9, 10 winning weeks in a row. That's very, very common. As of now, I believe that I am on a 7 or 8 week win streak anyway. So that happens majority of the time. But losing streaks do occur, of say 2, 3 losses in a row. That's more or less very common, 2 or 3 losses in a row. That will happen around 2 or 3. And then the points where we lose 5, 6 trades in a row happens around twice per year, I would say. So we'd lose around 5, 6 trades in a row. But following the account management section, whether you've just got your funded account or you've built your drawdown, you would never ever blow a funded account from 5, 6 losing trades. And it does happen based off probability. From my experience as well of the trades I've taken over the past 3 years of data, is that it does occur. You'd have 5 or 6 losing trades in a row. But then at the same time, I do experience, as of last year, 16 winning trades in a row inside of April. And then this year, I had a win streak of 8 winning trades in a row. And so far this year, I've not actually had a point when I've lost 6 trades in a row. That's not happened this year. It happened last year, But this year I've not experienced that. The biggest losing streak this year, I believe, was 4 losing trades in a row around midsummer, and I still closed the month out in a profit. Because when you lose a trade, you only lose 1 hour. I have a couple winning trades, and I'm back to break even from 4 losing trades. 5 minute inverse, so 5 minutes bullish, 15 minute, 1 hour. Has now shifted. What's that? Stop placement's not valid on this. The displacement is too much, where the stop placement would have to be at this low. It's about 100 point stop placement. So yes, it's a valid entry. Stop placement, no. So there's not going to be a trade that I want to take here, because your stop placement in all cases, it must be below anything that sends trade in favor, as we spoke about earlier. So below these bullish gaps, below this bullish breaker block here as well, and that's not going to happen, guys. 100 point, or there's probably more. I think it's actually more than 100 points. Yeah, it's 110 point stop placement, something crazy like that. Could you put your stop at the recent swing low? Well, as I said, it wouldn't be below anything that sends trade in favor, right? It's just going to be at the swing low. But price can seek other bullish PD rays to support the trade below it. You get stopped out and then it goes in favor. So it wouldn't be a trade I'd take. There's a difference between a trade like this and then you have a continuation trade. With a continuation, essentially price is already in a premium, and you just take a very minor liquidity following a bias, and then you take the trade in a premium to target buy side, or you're in a discount, you take a short. Just because you're in a premium doesn't mean you should always be looking for shorts. For example, if you're in a premium but you haven't met, say, London or previous day high, right, so price is still trading in a premium, and then we come down and we take out some internal range liquidity, or we take out previous point and minor sell side supporting a bullish bias, then yes, you can still take longs, still take a trade long in a premium and short in a discount, but obviously it's preferred not to. Then how was yesterday's stop loss valid? Because this displacement, as of yesterday, displacement occurred after creating a swing high. So if we go to yesterday, right, here it is, second day of macro, and we took, let me see, we took an entry short at 53. And we ran our stop placement above everything that sent the trade in favor. Let me just double check that. I don't know where my phone is, I've lost it. So yesterday we caught an entry as of this point. And we were seeking or was our entry later? I believe our entry. See, I don't know about yesterday. I need to re-look at the trade, because I believe we might have either taken this displacement or this one. I'll have to look. But either way, the trade from yesterday's stop placement would be at this area here, and if it was this one, this is not what sends trade in favor. Price is drawn higher, and then it's created a bearish order block, and then it's had a shift. But I believe the entry yesterday was here at 53. Our stop placement would be either at the high of this candle. Let me relook at this trade. I need to go back to live price action. One sec. Yeah, our stop loss is always in a valid position. Alright, so the 15 minutes just shifted from neutral to bearish. That gives us a bearish bias there. And on the 5 minute as well. So 80% bearish bias. We've just swept minor buy side. Okay, so this is more of what we want to see. And then you can mark this here as equal lows. More specific, relative. Alright, perfect. So as of now, we have a bearish bias, a sweep of buy side. So now we're going to look for a shift in market structure lower. To see if we can support an opportunity for shorts in the second half of this lunch macro. The 1 hour is bearish from the 1 hour bearish gap to the left. So on ES we have a bullish order block, but not an NQ. So an inverse of that area would be a bearish breaker block. So as of now it's a bullish confluence for price to draw higher. But if we see a bullish confluence disrespected, it then acts as a point of, you could say, resistance or a bearish confluence. So we want to see that paired with a fair value gap and a clean shift lower in market structure. I believe over half of this stream was cut out because when my monitor turned off earlier, it also turned the stream off. So it doesn't really matter because we haven't taken any trades anyway. I'll just have to get them plugged together, you know. There you go, bullish order block. So ES trades into the bullish order block, respects it, draws higher, creates another bullish order block. Displacement's now below this low. mind showing the 1 hour gap that we're currently in? Yep, it's this one, all the way to the left. That price is traded back up into, as you can see, forming a bearish bias in the hourly time frame. That massive dump that we've seen on that Friday, because I took a short around that area and I secured a 2-to-1 risk reward, and then all of the coulda, shoulda, woulda comments came in and said, bro, imagine if you held. So that was that Friday. I'm just laughing at the chat right now. It's funny. Full ported shorts. Someone put a gay flag. Yeah, oi, spam the gay flag. Run it up. The gay flag. 20 likes on that gay flag now. Full porting shorts. Yeah, guys. So it does look like we're finishing the week and Friday with no trades, but we are, you know, finishing the week up 2.2R in a profit. So first week with you guys, it's been an absolute pleasure, you know, and it's very good to speak to you guys again and answer all of the questions that you guys have had as well. And to get a trade as of now, it actually is impossible. It wouldn't be able to get an entry inside of this macro. There's not been any trades today that have been valid to take. There's been 2 or 3 shorts inside of the first day in macro that people would have considered, but we stated obviously that they were invalid. And then we also had this long opportunity where the bias didn't pair with the long, and of course it's not a problem. Trades like this, they do play out, but our bias doesn't pair with it, and that's just exactly how it goes. Is that probability lies is that some trades will play out which don't meet the model, but more times than not is that they don't play out. Just like we seen earlier, we seen 2 trades fail in a row. So we had 2 avoidable losses straight off the bat, and then we had this trade, and this one of course played out as a long, but doesn't follow our model. So there's been no trades today. So far this week, the results lie as this inside the group: 1 break-even trade, 1 winning trade of a 2R, and then another trade which was plus 0.2R. Relatively break-even, pretty much. So we're up 2.2R in the week. We are wrapping up Friday and we are completely done for this session. I hope you guys have enjoyed this week so far. I'm going to be making some improvements to the Discord over the weekend as well. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. There's many other channels that are going to be added, and I'm going to keep improving this Discord to ensure that you guys who are taking payouts, everyone inside of this group scaling up their accounts, knows exactly 100% where to put the payout, how to scale up as fast as possible, and once you are scaled up and you have some money behind you from the payouts, right, and also helping you manage your payouts so you don't blow it, right, because I've experienced that as well, especially when I was new to receiving payouts. I was spending 80 or 90% of my income from payouts, right, and then I actually understood money management, and I had to learn a few lessons along the way. So I'm going to be including that in all separate channels, 100%. These are all not only education, but also channels that will make you a shit ton of money from using your payouts to actually leverage to build wealth. That's what we're here for, guys. And I'll also be helping you guys on where to store your money as well, on what wallets I use, etc. But until we do our next stream on Monday, I'll speak to you guys shortly. Have a great rest of your evening.